The VIP lounge segment was next, and Brock Lesnar is out first before MVP makes his entrance. And Lesnar says he has no beef with MVP. This is all about business and wants to hear MVP sell him on the idea of a match with Omos, which I was thinking, wow, brace yourself, because MVP is going to have to work overtime here to convince us of this match for WrestleMania. Lesnar says that he does not feel insulted after he was called a coward last week. And MVP explains that the beast, Brock Lesnar, can destroy any man, but a giant can conquer a beast, and you wouldn't be able to throw Omos around. And this is enough for Brock to state, you know what, the next month of my life, I'm committing to this. This is the option I want. So he accepts it, and they go to toast, but instead of the champagne that MVP has, Lesnar pulls out a flask containing white lightning that he chugs down, and then MVP has to chug this.
What is white lightning? What is that?
I assumed it's some illegal moonshine that he has made in Saskatchewan of some sort.
White lightning? What kind of... Okay, so just mystery liquor.
I don't know. I bet you... How did
you get this across the border?
You know what? Canadians have a way of crossing the border if they're pro wrestlers and not being questioned.
He must have drove it, yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I doubt it was perfectly balanced. He could have asked me for some tips.
Ah, that's right. You went to your drink mixing class.
Yeah, I could teach him a thing or two. I didn't learn what white lightning was, though. Yeah, so MVP begrudgingly chugs this, and it's so gross, he spits it up on Lesnar, who F5's MVP. And we are left with what appears to be the direction. In 4 weeks' time, Brock Lesnar versus Omos at WrestleMania, which it's a match. And I guess the hope is that, dude, I can't fathom this dude taking like a belly-to-belly. I guess he can take a German and hopefully an F5.
Belly-to-belly, I'm curious.
Omos going over, rotating over.
I wouldn't risk it, of course, but if anybody, dude. Like, I feel like I've seen the Big Show take a belly-to-belly, right? Like, he's taken some form of, like, crazy suplex like that. He could take a German suplex, you know, like Brock Lesnar taking Omos to Suplex City, F5ing him, I think will be pretty spectacular and maybe enough to justify this.
I will tell you this. Omos will take all these German suplexes, and everyone will say, oh, it was fine. And we are going to hear interviews from Omos in 10 years where he is going to talk about how awful his body was after taking all of those suplexes at his size. Big Show went through this. It was like, dude, that Brock feud killed Big Show, taking all those suplexes.
Right.
But yeah, this is strictly being put together for the visual of Omos and Brock doing a crazy Brock match with a guy that is going to be called upon to have to do some athletic, getting tossed around.
Yeah, I understand that idea. I understand WrestleMania is the time to, you know, create moments, and this could be a moment. I feel, though, especially if you're Brock Lesnar at this stage, you know, in your career, I want to see something a bit more complex than just essentially a spot. You know, what we're talking about here is like, you know, a guy throwing somebody else around. The promise of a more interesting match with a Gunther, with, I don't know, I mean, remember when we were talking about Steve Austin as a possible opponent for this guy, and somehow we landed on Omos instead. But just something that's more attractive, you know, and able to, I think, let people feel like it's at least a semi-main event worthy type of.
Oh, dude, this will be 6 minutes tops, and maybe the days of Brock doing 15 is in the rearview mirror. Like, these are the kinds of matches he's looking for,
and that's fine. But even like a 6 minutes against like somebody who, like, a matchup that has a bit more a story and a bit more juice attached to it than somebody like Omos, who hasn't been featured at all on their television for the past 6 months. You're just basically telling us, you know, Brock Lesnar is going to throw a big, you know, punching bag around, and I that's just not really enough for me.